September has ended. I'm awake now! I know, bad joke. You can groan, it's okay. 13 books read this month, which puts me at 147 out of 200 for the year, which Goodreads tells me is 2 books behind. I am the supplier, and this is my reading wrap-up for September 2012. With any luck, I'll get back on the reading track soon. Even with 13 books this month, I felt like I didn't read very much. I'm not sure why that is, but I've got a bunch of good books on my read this next shelf, so we will see what happens. So here is a list of the books that I read this month. For university this month, I read Wasted Lives and Dismantling Contemporary Notions of Deficit Thinking because I'm taking a class on curriculum. These books made me angry, but the latter validated my thoughts on, democracy in the classroom. I think, though, that I'm going to have to revisit these really pretty soon. In young adult fiction, I read Amulets Volume 5, Prince of the Elves by Kazu Kibuishi, Secrets, Lies, and Algebra by Wendy Lichtman, Behemoth by Scott Westerfeld, The Sorcerer's Apprentice by James Ponti, which was our first Book of the Month book at my school. This Dark Endeavor and Such Wicked Intent by Kenneth Opel. They just made me happy. Unholy by Neil Shusterman, which also made me happy. Big Nate Goes for Broke by Lincoln Pierce, Every Day by David Levithan, Scrawl by Mark Schulman, and Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. It was hard to choose my favorites for this month, as I read so many books that were good, but I narrowed it down to 2, and I cheated a little bit. So my favorites were The Apprenticeship of Victor Frankenstein books, which was both This Dark Endeavor and Such Wicked Intent. And what I love about the way Opel constructs the story is that readers familiar with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the original Frankenstein, for those viewers who haven't read it, anyway, those familiar with the original Frankenstein can clearly see how the story, clearly see where the story is going, and I think these 2 stories are brilliant. Now, I'm going to make a prediction, and if you haven't read either of the apprenticeship novels and you plan on it, cover your ears now. I think that Conrad is going to end up what we call Frankenstein's monster. Victor is obsessed with bringing him back, and Conrad has decided that he must have Elizabeth. There was an issue in the original novel about Frankenstein not being able to control the monster. I think that's right. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. Anyway, I assert that Conrad will be the monster. Now we just have to wait and see if I'm right. My other favorite this month, because I just couldn't have one, was Unholy by Neil Shusterman. And I'm not going to talk about this too much here because I've done a couple of videos about Unwind and Unholy. And if you want to talk about them, there are links here and in the description. I've got 2 videos that talk about it. One is my book stack from earlier this month, and the other one is one where I pose questions about the nature of life and such, basically the things I was thinking about as I was reading the novel. So if you want to talk about it, go see those videos. Now, I know a lot of booktubers talk about what they're going to read for the month, but since I do that on a weekly basis with Sunday Book Stack, I'm not going to. So that's it for me today. If you'd like any more information about the books that I read this month, check out the blog post for this video over at thebooksupplier.com, and there's a link to this specific post in the description. If you want to just talk about books, or you'd like to suggest a title or theme for a feature shelf, which is on the show that I do on Thursdays, hit me up here or on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+, and you can find that information in the end screen and in the description below. Thanks for watching my reading wrap-up for September 2012. I am the supplier wishing you happy reading. Don't forget to be awesome.